deep in the forests of the American South and stretching all the way up to New York. A silent invasion is underway. A relentless vine is climbing over oaks and hickories, smothering native canopies under a blanket of glossy, heart-shaped leaves. To the USDA and state invasive species councils, this plant is a green monster, a Tier 1 threat that must be eradicated at all costs. But in East Asia, this exact plant is the backbone of a multi-billion-dollar agricultural industry. It is a top-tier medicine prescribed for thousands of years to heal the gut and boost vitality. And most surprisingly, it was brought to American soil in the 1800s, not by accident, but as the savior of the Western world. We are currently spending millions of dollars poisoning a plant that was originally introduced to save us from starvation. A plant that contains medicinal compounds found in almost no other vegetable on Earth. And no, we are not talking about the kudzu. This is the story of the cinnamon vine, Dioscorea polystachya, also known as nagaimo, or the Chinese yam. It is the vegetable that solved a biological crisis we forgot we had, and today we are going to explore why we were taught to destroy it. Welcome back to Ancestral Yields. If you want to discover the forgotten crops that history left behind and learn how to turn weeds into abundance, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Let us dig in. To understand why this vine is growing wild in Tennessee today, we must return to one of the darkest moments in agricultural history. The Irish Potato Famine. The year is 1840. The potato blight, Phytophthora infestans, was decimating the primary calorie source of the Western world. Europe was starving, and American farmers were terrified that the blight would wipe out the food supply of the New World next. Enter William Robert Prince. Prince was a fourth-generation nurseryman from Flushing, New York, and a prominent figure in American horticulture. In 1855, he published a treatise that would spark a frenzy. He declared he had found the Esculent of the future, a plant that was completely immune to the potato rot, could be stored in a cellar for years without spoiling, and possessed a nutritional profile superior to any tuber known to man. That plant was Dioscorea batatas, now known as Dioscorea polystachya. For a brief window between 1855 and 1860, the Chinese yam became the gold of the agricultural world. Prince and other nurserymen sold tiny tubers for exorbitant prices, equating to hundreds of dollars in today's money. Farmers scrambled to get their hands on this miracle crop, convinced it would replace the potato entirely. And this was not snake oil. Prince was drawing on ancient knowledge. In China, where the plant is known as shan yao, it had been revered for millennia. The divine farmer's Herb Root Classic, a text dating back to the Han Dynasty, classified it as a superior tonic, capable of replenishing QI, strengthening the spleen, and nourishing the lungs. The West thought they had found the ultimate survival crop, a calorie source that doubled as medicine. So, if this plant was immune to disease, highly nutritious, and praised by experts, why is it not more ubiquitous in the West? Why is it a weed in the woods instead of a staple on our dinner plates? The problem is the physics of the harvest. A standard potato grows horizontally, sitting nicely in the top 6 to 8 inches of topsoil. You can scrape it out with a hoe or a plow. The Chinese yam, however, is a vertical grower. A single tuber can dive 3 to 5 feet straight down into the subsoil. It anchors itself with tremendous force. In the mid to late 19th century, agriculture was shifting from human labor to horse-drawn and steam-powered mechanization. The new plows and harvesters were designed for shallow scraping. When farmers tried to run these machines over a field of Chinese yams, the equipment either broke or the brittle tubers snap deep underground, leaving the majority of the harvest locked in the earth. By the 1880s, the invention of the Bordeaux mixture, a fungicide, allowed farmers to manage the potato blight. The desperate need for a replacement vanished. Faced with the choice between a potato that could be harvested by a machine in minutes or a superior yam that required a man with a shovel to dig a 4-foot trench, capitalism chose the potato. The esculent of the future was abandoned. It survived only in ornamental gardens, prized for the cinnamon scent of its flowers, until it inevitably escaped over the garden fence to reclaim the wild. It is important to understand exactly how this plant operates, because its biology is what makes it both an invasive nightmare and a permaculture miracle. Dioscorea polystachya is a perennial vine that dies back to the ground every fall. Below ground, the tuber expands year after year, acting as a nutrient mine. Because it grows deep rather than wide, it accesses mineral veins in the subsoil that surface-level crops like corn and wheat can never reach. Above ground, the vine climbs by twining. A key identification feature for the edible Dioscorea polystachya is that it twines in a clockwise direction, from lower left to upper right. Its leaves are distinctively heart-shaped or fiddle-shaped, with a glossy green finish and purplish veins. But the giveaway and the source of its reproductive power are the aerial bulbils. In late summer and early fall, the vine produces tiny potato-like nodules in the crooks of its leaves. These are called air potatoes. They range from the size of a pea to a marble and smell faintly of cinnamon, which gives the plant its common name. These bulbils are biological clones. When they drop to the forest floor, they sprout into new plants. This zero-effort reproduction is why the USDA classifies it as a severe threat. But for a permaculturist, it is a dream, a crop that plants itself. When we abandoned the cinnamon vine for the potato, we did more than give up a calorie source. We walked away from a nutritional powerhouse that still puts modern tubers to shame. The profile of Dioscorea polystachya is so unique that it essentially forms its own category of food. Let's talk about the texture first. When you cut into fresh nagaimo, it is slimy. This mucilage is caused by a glycoprotein called mucin. Americans might recoil at the texture, but this slime is the medicine. Studies show that mucin acts as a gastric protectant, coating the lining of the stomach and intestines. In a world rampant with ulcers, acid reflux, and intestinal inflammation, this vegetable offers a soothing, restorative barrier that dry, starchy potatoes simply cannot provide. Then there are the enzymes. Nagaimo is the only root vegetable in the world you can eat completely raw, because it is loaded with high concentrations of diastase and amylase, the same digestive enzymes found in human saliva. When you eat a potato, your body has to work hard to break down complex starches. When you eat raw nagaimo, the vegetable helps digest itself. It is so potent that in Japan, it is traditionally served grated over rich, fatty meats specifically to aid digestion. Nutritionally, the stats are impressive. A single cup of cubed nagaimo contains roughly 816 milligrams of potassium. That is about 25% of your daily value, and significantly higher than a standard white potato, which usually offers between 400 and 600 milligrams for an equivalent portion. It is also packed with resistant starch, which feeds beneficial gut bacteria rather than spiking blood sugar. But the real superfood claim comes from a compound called allantoin. This is a cell proliferant, a substance that encourages rapid cell growth and healing. It is the same active ingredient found in comfrey and in snail slime used in expensive skincare products. Consuming allantoin internally has been linked to accelerated tissue repair and anti-inflammatory effects. If you want to reclaim this crop, the safest route is to grow it at home rather than forage. The cinnamon vine is incredibly hardy, thriving in USDA zones 4 through 8. It can survive harsh winters in Minnesota and humid summers in Georgia. You can find tubers or bulbils at Asian grocery markets, often labeled as nagaimo, yamaimo, or Chinese yam, or through specialized permaculture nurseries online. Do not plant a whole tuber. Simply cut the top section off a store-bought root and bury it, or plant the aerial bulbils like seeds in the spring. But remember the mechanical failure of the 1800s. You do not want to dig a 4-foot trench in your backyard. The revival of this crop relies on harvest hacks that William Robert Prince did not think of. Modern growers use the gutter method. Take a standard rain gutter or a wide PVC pipe cut in half, fill it with loose, sandy soil, and bury it in your garden at a 15-degree angle. Plant the seed at the top. As the root grows, it follows the path of the pipe, growing long and straight while remaining just inches below the surface. When harvest time comes in the fall, you simply pull up the pipe and slide the clean tuber out. No trenching required. Then leave a few tubers in the ground and they will grow back in the spring. Before you add this to your daily diet, there are important safety considerations to note. First, the peel contains needle-like calcium oxalate crystals called raphides. If you peel this tuber with bare hands, you may experience significant itching or contact dermatitis. Always wear gloves when peeling, or wash the tuber in a vinegar solution to neutralize the crystals. Once cooked or digested, these crystals pose no threat to most people. Second, because many Dioscorea species contain diosgenin, a precursor used in laboratories to synthesize steroid hormones, there are traditional cautions for people with hormone-sensitive conditions, such as certain cancers, endometriosis, or uterine fibroids. While dietary levels are generally considered safe, and this tuber serves as a staple for millions in Asia, anyone with those conditions should consult a physician before consuming large quantities. Additionally, due to the extremely high potassium content, individuals with kidney disease who must monitor potassium intake should consume this vegetable in moderation. If you are venturing into the woods to find this, a serious warning is necessary. You must know your botany to avoid a toxic mistake. There is a look-alike called the air potato, Dioscorea bulbifera. This is a different species, primarily found in Florida and the Gulf Coast, though ranges can overlap. The key difference lies in the texture of the aerial bulbils. The edible cinnamon vine has relatively smooth but slightly warty bulbils, while the potentially toxic Dioscorea bulbifera often has rounder, smoother bulbils that look more like asteroids or moon rocks. The wild yam, Dioscorea villosa, is native to North America and is bitter and inedible. If you are foraging, you must be 100% certain of your identification. Never harvest vines from roadsides, power line cuts, or public parks, as these areas are frequently sprayed with heavy herbicides like triclopyr to kill this exact plant. For those ready to eat, the culinary versatility is unmatched. The most famous preparation is the Japanese dish tororo. You simply grate the raw tuber into a white, sticky paste and serve it over rice or soba noodles. It adds a refreshing, crisp flavor and helps digest the meal. If the slime is too much for you, treat it like a water chestnut. Slice it into rounds and pan fry them until golden. It keeps a beautiful crunch and never gets mushy. Or toss the cubed root into soups, where the mucin acts as a natural, gluten-free thickener, giving body to the broth while helping heal the gut. We call the cinnamon vine an invader, a weed and a threat. We spend millions of dollars trying to kill it. But perhaps the problem is not the plant. The problem is us. We view abundance as a nuisance because it does not fit into the neat rows of a combine harvester. This vine offers us a chance to rethink our relationship with food. It offers a gut-healing medicine that tastes like a crisp pear when raw and a savory potato when cooked. It offers a way to farm vertically, pulling nutrients from the deep earth. The next time you see that heart-shaped leaf strangling a tree in the woods, do not just see a weed, see a lost chapter of agricultural history waiting to be reopened. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lost world of the cinnamon vine, please hit that like button and subscribe to Ancestral Yields. See you in the garden.